As you may already know, the Competition and Markets Authority has launched a market study into early years education and childcare services in England. And if you saw the headlines and thought, is this about hidden fees or is it about funding? The answer is it's about both, but it is broader than that. The CMA says it is looking into whether the childcare sector is working well for families, providers, and the wider economy. The study covers nurseries, preschools, childminders, and school-based early years provision from birth until children start school. It is looking at access, affordability, funding, provider sustainability, information for parents, local authority roles, and the impact of different provider types. And there are two figures that really stood out to me. The first is that the UCL, that's University College London, their research cited by the CMA found that places offered by private equity providers have doubled, accounting for 8% of places in 2024. The second is that the Department of Education found that 39% decline in childminders between 2018 and 2025. Now, those two figures confirm something important. The early years market is changing, and where a market changes, everyone starts asking questions. Who is providing childcare? Can families afford it? Are providers sustainable? Are smaller providers being pushed out? Are parents being given clear information? And is public funding actually covering the real cost of delivering high quality early years provision? Let's join me. We know the answer to that. There's a real cost to running a good early years setting. Staffing, training, supervision, safeguarding systems, Senko time, administration, insurance, rent, utilities, food, cleaning, resources, compliance, software, record keeping, leadership time. And when we talk about fees, we have to be honest what those fees are paying for. Parents do not always see the cost behind the scenes. They just see the invoice. They do not always see the hours spent managing safeguarding records, preparing for inspection, supporting staff, viewing concerns, evidencing practice, communicating with families, and making sure children are safe, included and supported. So when providers say we're trying to keep our fees as low as possible, that does not mean the service is cheap to run. It means the provider is trying to absorb pressure while still maintaining quality, and that is hard. This is where the return on investment matters. At On the Button, we've been very conscious of keeping our fees low because we know the pressures providers are under. We know settings are already balancing rising costs, funding uncertainty, staff pressures, and increasing expectations around safeguarding SEND, inclusion, complaints and wellbeing. But low cost does not mean low value. In fact, the right system can save managers time, reduce risk, strengthen evidence and support better decision making. That is where the return on investment comes in. If a practitioner can log concerns quickly, that saves time. If a manager can see patterns clearly, that reduces risk. If evidence is organised and time-stamped, that supports inspection readiness. If complaints are well-being concerns or safeguarding notes are recorded properly, that protects the child, the family, the staff member and the setting. And if the system helps leaders spot something early, that is not just admin. That is best practice. The CMA consultation is open until the 26th of July, and they want to hear from professionals and providers about what is working, what is difficult, and what could improve. So my question for providers is this: when you talk about affordability, are you also talking about sustainability? Because the sector cannot deliver high quality childcare on good intentions alone. And research shows that it is only high quality childcare that makes a difference to children's lives. Good provision costs money. Safe provision costs money. Inclusive provision costs money. And strong systems that help settings evidence what they do is not an optional extra anymore. They're part of running a setting well. So yes, the CMA study is about affordability for families, but it's also about the real pressures on providers. And if we want a childcare system that works, we have to talk about both. Families need childcare they can afford, and providers need funding and fees that reflect the real cost of delivery. And settings need practical tools that can give them strong value without adding unnecessary financial pressures. And that's why we've kept On the Button accessible. Because when budgets are tight, the tools settings choose need to do more than look useful. They need to make the working day easier, help managers see what is happening, and provide evidence when it matters. That is the real return on investment. And right now, in this sector, that matters. Bye for now.